Capricorn, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name's Carol, and this is a general reading for you for March 2024, mid-month. So what I'll do is I'll link the March reading that I did for you at the end, if you haven't had a chance to see that. I'll also link in the description box the yearly reading I did for you for 2024, and that's a good read if you want to give that a shot. So Capricorn, what are we going to do today? We're going to do what's called the Yellow Cardinal Cross. And so in the Cardinal Cross, what I'm going to do is look for the issue that you're sitting in right now. It could be a pattern. It could be a struggle, some sort of situation where you're looking for some guidance. And sometimes things come around, you know, we've been through this before and it's coming up again. And so maybe you're needing a little bit of help with that. And then I'm also going to pull in for number 2. I'm going to pull something that will help me clarify, you know, the situation you're sitting in. And sometimes what it does is it can show me what's blocking, why it's blocking it, give me a bit more information. And then we'll go to number 3 and, you know, I'm going to find out what you're consciously aware of concerning this situation. And then 4 is a very important card. We're going to do a little bit of shadow work. And if you don't know that term, if you've never heard it before, some of you may have, or maybe you're into shadow work. I'm going to link a video that I did on shadow work. And I'll link it below in the description box. It gives you a lot of help on how to do it and how I do it. And then, so what's going to happen is I'm going to pull a card and it's going to tell me what's coming up out of your shadow. So basically it's what needs to be healed in this situation that has that's having an impact on the situation that you are sitting in right now. So that's an important card for me and for you to really pay attention to. I'll give you a lot of information. And then at the top, I'm going to look at the resolution that needs to happen here. Like what's needed for this resolution, first of all. And then number 6 will be the resolution or the guidance from the tarot is what I like to say. So we're going to get started. Capricorn. Just did Virgo. So we're going to get started, Capricorn, with the issue that you're sitting in right now. Let's have one card that came rushing out of my deck here. So it's the 5 of Pentacles that came out. The 5 of Pentacles, that gives me a good idea where you're sitting right now. And I need a card to clarify that, or a card that is maybe obscuring that, blocking it. I got too many cards there, so I'm going to have to put those in. Another card, please. One card, please. Just take one card. Okay, here we go. The 2 of Wands. The 2 of Wands in reverse. Okay, so that one came out in reverse. Next, I'm going to look at number 3, which is what you're aware of, what you're consciously aware of. One card, please, which came out. The Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups. What's sitting in your shadow right now, number 4? What's sitting in your shadow? The 6 of Wands. The 6 of Wands is sitting in your shadow. What's needed for resolution? What's needed for resolution? This guy wanted to come out. Ooh, 5 of Wands. The 5 of Wands. All right, so you've had, this is 3 wands here that have come out for you already. Half the cards. I pull out 6 and half of them are wands. And the wand suit is all about movement. It's all about going in the direction you want to go into. It's all about, there's a lot of struggle with them, but they struggle because they want to be moving all the time. So, yeah, we'll see what goes on with that. But what direction? It sounds like there's, you know, a need for going in a direction. Let's have some guidance from the tarot here. Some guidance for Capricorn from the tarot. for this situation that they're sitting in. Just one card, please. And I like it when you make them fly out. Ooh, I was just saying, I wanted to fly out and it flew out. You have the World card in reverse. The World card in reverse for you to end with. All right. So, let's begin. Capricorn. Capricorn, where are you sitting? And I just want to say that I can feel your pain here. Like the Five of Wands is always a difficult card to sit with. It's our card of, you know, these two individuals that are walking by this church, and they're not dressed properly for the weather, and they just don't have the self-worth to go into that church and get some warmth and, you know, and ask someone for help, and just doing it on their own. You know, how often do we just, you know, try to do things on our own, just push forward and just not really ask for help, and not wanting to ask for help, not thinking we can get help. And this is a card of real, like, unworthiness. It's a 5, you know, it's a number 5, Pentacles. And so, and Pentacles is all about our self-worth. And Pentacles is all about, the number 5 is all about change. It's all about conflict. But the change part is important here, because when we're sitting with this, when we're sitting in that state of real unworthiness and feeling like we don't matter, feeling alone, feeling like no one's supporting us, like I said, it's just a shitty place to be, and that's where you're sitting. But on the other side of that is once you process that, once you deal with the emotions of unworthiness and loneliness, once you deal with the emotions that are connected to that, that's when, you know, you can get to the other side. So, because what's happening here is you're sitting there, you're feeling very unworthy, because it looks like you're, you know, this is in reverse here. So there is a block, there is a resistance to doing this, but it looks like you're kind of wanting to, this is the Two of Wands. This is the kind of like a decision. You're making a decision to maybe do something. You're making a decision to, you know, take your life in a different direction. And that's what the Wands is all about. It could be, you know, anything. It's a general reading. So maybe you want to start a project. Maybe you just want to make a big change in your, I'm going to say small change right now. It's just the beginning of something. So maybe you're wanting to change something in your life, whatever it is, whatever area it takes you in. It's taking your life in a different direction, something that you haven't done before. Putting yourself first is definitely something that, you know, especially because I see this unworthiness here. And this tells me that, you know, maybe you're thinking of wanting to kind of put yourself first here. And, but it's in resistance here because, you know, you've maybe spent a lifetime of kind of not being first and feeling like you have been left out. This is what this card says. It's a card that screams of just feeling left out. And maybe you're thinking, you know, maybe there's something I want to do. And that requires you to put yourself out there a little bit, just a little bit. And there's a real resistance to doing that. And that's where I'm seeing you're sitting right now. So what do you know? Well, here's the Queen of Cups that shows up. And the Queen of Cups comes out just to remind us, because she is the feminine aspect of herself. We all have a feminine and a masculine aspect. The masculine aspect is my kings. And we all have that. It doesn't matter what the gender here. We all have the feminine and masculine aspect. And so the feminine aspect of it, the Queen of Cups in particular, look at the water that's flowing around her. All around her, right? It's not in puddles. It's just flowing at her feet so beautifully. And her whole gown is just flowing. You know, everything is just flowing together here. And she is very much a queen. She's very much the queen of emotions. She's very, very in touch with her emotions. And she allows all her emotions to flow in and to flow out. You know, there's no blockages here. There's just, everything's just flowing abundantly. There's so much abundance around her. And so we're asked to be taking on this queen of emotions. to realize that you have all these emotions, and that is what you are aware of. You are aware that you have these emotions. And I think you're aware that emotions are meant to flow in, they're meant to flow out of you. We're meant to feel all of our emotions here, you know, including this unworthiness that you're sitting in right now about, you know, with yourself, and not being able to put yourself forward here, resistance to doing that. And so what's coming up in our shadow? Like, why is there such a resistance here to put yourself forward? Why is there such a resistance here to feel these emotions that need to be felt in order for you to do what you want to do? That's what needs to happen here. In order for you to do what you need to do, you need to feel what needs to be felt in order to heal. The six of wands, and here's another wand suit here, you know, here's another wands, that the wands is wanting to take your life in this certain direction. You have this individual who's coming back from a battle. He's got the victory wreath right here. He's got all his supporters here beside him. Well, it looks like that, but it's a 6. It's a number 6 in the deck, 6 of wands. And this, all the 6s in the deck have a duality to them, a duality aspect. And so if this card portrays winning, well, the opposite of that would be losing. And so you look at this card and you think, well, there's no losing here, but let's pull this green blanket off of here. And that's what's going to show what's been lost here, you know? And so there's something that's sitting in your shadow that has been lost. And when you lose something, in particular when you're younger, and you lose something, it could be the loss of support from others around you. It's a general reading, so you know, you might know here what you've lost, and it could be, you know, the loss of the support from others around us. And there's a lot of grieving. There's a lot of grieving that needs to be done if, you know, this loss is sitting in your shadow. And so that's what I'm feeling here, that there is a need for you to get in touch with that grief, that loss that's sitting in your shadow. Because, you know, there's a real sense of unworthiness here. And you want to take your life, you want to put yourself first. And when we start to deal with that grief that's sitting in our shadow of, I mean, why do you feel unworthy? You know, where do those feelings come from? And what's happening here, what's needed for resolution? Well, the wands come up, and that's a 5 of wands. The wand suit, like I said, is a suit of conflict already. And here you have a number 5, and the number 5 is about conflict and change. So you have double conflict going on here. And what's happening here is the number 5 is what I call the battle of my egos. And, you know, they're not really battling physically here. It's a battle of, you know, who's got the best wand. You know, I got the best wand. No, I do. And we can really, when we're sitting in that place of unworthiness where you're sitting, we can start, and especially if we want to start something for ourselves, we want to do something for ourselves, and it's something that we've never done before, and you just start comparing yourself to others. For example, like when I wanted to start my tarot channel, and right before I was going to really think, you know what, I think I'm ready to do it. I think I'm ready to go on camera here and start this. I got online and I started paying attention and looking at all these other tarot readers and how they have this many followers and how they're better than me, and there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can read it the same way they read it. Well, you know what I learned was that there's not one single tarot reader that reads the cards in the same way. There's not one. Even when I was studying all the cards and trying to figure out what they meant, everybody was telling me a different meaning. And I had to try to finally realize that I need to apply this to me. The way I read my cards is about me and my experience. And I'm saying that because you can sit here and you can try to compare yourself to everyone else. And your ego, when we're wanting to do something for ourselves, it can be this small our ego will come up and our ego will say, no, 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 you're not as good as that person, or you can't do it like this. And, you know, and then once we start comparing, I always say that once you start comparing yourself to other people, that's what really shuts you right down. And that's what the ego wants, because the ego tries to keep things really safe for you, right? You can't go out on this limb, or you're not allowed to. And that's when we start hearing messages in our head that we're not allowed to do this. We shouldn't do this. No, that's too scary. And, our ego's full of fear. Our ego's fear will just keep us from doing anything. And so I think that's what's happening here is you're comparing yourself to people and you're shutting yourself down. And so what the tarot says, well, what do you need to do? If your ego is running the show here, if your ego is telling you not to do this and putting fear in your head and all these ideas, well, the World card comes up for you. And the World card for me, like, it's all about this dancer here in an upright position, very much in a place of self-awareness here. This is what this card is. It's the last card in the major arcana, the last universal force here on us, where you just become very self-aware, right? So how can you become self-aware? How do you get out of all of this ego, this stuff in your head, the ego telling you this unworthiness, and all of these things that are coming up and, spinning in your head? Well, it says to get present. Get present, because there is a real need for that. This card is upright. And so in order to get present, in order to become more self-aware of what's going on here and what is our truth and how do we get to that grief, when we get back in our bodies, we get still, and that's how we become more present to ourselves. And that's when we start to hear, that's when we start to feel some of these emotions that need to come out. And that's when we're going to start to really get in touch with this grief that's sitting underneath that green blanket. And you know what? You might even grieve. And I know there's this huge wall for us to really get to get over. We feel like grief is just going to really overwhelm us and just swallow us up. But it doesn't. It's a beautiful releasing. It's a beautiful releasing. And once you release that grief that needs to come out with this unworthiness, you're going to be able to turn this card upright. It was the other way around. You're going to be able to turn this card upright. And you're going to be able to take those wands and you're going to be able to go into that direction that you want to go in. It's just going to be a small step, but it's going to be the direction that you want to go in. So Capricorn, beautiful reading for you. And good luck with this. And I'll see you in April. Bye-bye.